Again, the title is What are the leading breakthrough energy companies? What are the most likely to succeed? The floor is yours, Howard Hinman, Distinguished Toastmaster.
It has been some time since I looked at breakthrough energy. There has been substantial progress in this area. Let's look briefly at this field again. I shall not discuss hot fusion. Out of abundance of politeness, I shall not give you my opinion of it, other than to give you a wee bit of humor. That field reminds me of the old sayings about two types of minds, a boat and a yacht. A gold mine is a hole in the ground with someone telling a series of fibs and tall tales about it, particularly about how it would be a great idea for you to invest. I get one of these every few years. Someone says, "Hi, why don't you invest 25,000 bucks or 50,000 or 100,000 bucks in my gold mine?" And therefore, they're looking for large quantities of your cash. A silver mine is a hole in the ground whose owners have given large amounts of cash and perhaps shares to a promoter to tell all and sundry a similar string of fibs and tall tales about their mine. One of these promoters is politely abbreviated SHTF, meaning the excreta impacts the whirling blades. They send me emails touting many types of mines. If you read the fine print, you will discover that they are always paid at least 300,000 bucks to promote whatever mining operation has hired them, plus occasionally shares of a company. BOAT is an acronym for Bring Over Another $1,000 or Bankruptcy on a Trailer. A yacht is a hole in the water into which you pour copious quantities of cash. Instead, presiding officer, ladies and gentlemen, I shall analyze what I think are the leading breakthrough energy companies as reported by the website e-catworld.com. Let me repeat that, e-catworld.com. I base my evaluation on several reported factors. A, strength of management. B, strength of the advisory board, if any. C, most importantly, independent validations. Here is your form of success exemplified by Boom Supersonic. Romanet 1, clear vision. Romanet 2, a great advisory board. Romanet 3, outstanding management. Romanet 4, adequate funding. And Romanet 5, a wee bit of luck. The coating developed at the Woomera Test Range in South Australia, and that's South Australia. Along with clever designs, this allowed the Boom XP1 Bay Boom to achieve boomless cruise at up to Mach 1.3. Here, and I've used this in previous talks, is an actual first day of cover of the Boom XP1 Bay Boom on Friday, March 22nd, 2024. This aircraft went supersonic in less than 1 year. It has now been retired. Near the Centennial, Colorado Airport, we have three interesting items, which you may visit as far as I know. On the northeast side of the airport is Boom Supersonic. On the east side of the airport, and I have been there, is the Wings Over the Rockies Air and Space Museum. That actually has a Douglas B-18 medium bomber from right before and during World War II. The Boeing B-17 was far more famous. And on the southwestern side of the airport on Jamaica in Inglewood, Colorado, is Toastmasters National World Headquarters. I have indicated in the past that Boom Supersonic is a virtually guaranteed success over the next decade, and I remain convinced of this. Convinced enough that I've applied diffusible position over the past 5 years. As you recall, I guarantee it. Since my Fu Manchu mustache is still in place, I stand by my guarantee. Plus, on June 6, 2025, President Donald Trump signed an executive order to legalize boomless cruise supersonic over American soil. This means the American Concorde, the Boom Eclipse, becoming a jetport near you within a decade. There are 6-ish leading companies and groups in the breakthrough energy field. This talk discusses a magnificent 7. There are probably others. Roman numeral 1, Brilliant Light Power in Newtown, Pennsylvania, a Philadelphia suburb. You could visit them probably when you go to the International World Convention for Toastmasters there this late August. Their chief executive officer is Dr. Randall Mills, MD, with a medical degree from Harvard University. There are at least 5 validations. Their process is based on a supposedly new ground state of hydrogen called the hydrino. They claim that the hydrino makes up most of the mass of dark matter in our universe. Further, that they can produce hydrinos in their lab. Recently, they have offered to provide samples to university chemistry departments for confirmation. They claim well over unity, a coefficient of COP2 of 34:1. The difficulty was that they kept melting their power generation equipment. In other words, you literally had a flash in the pan issue. The Brilliant Light Power team could not control their energy production. I've actually applied to this company twice in the past 15 years without success. Currently, they are hiring staff who are bilingual in English and Mandarin. Roman numeral 2, Orient Energy of Ontario, Canada. Their work is based on electric universe theory. This explains why the corona of a star is hotter than its surface, often hundreds of times hotter. They're starting with a modular thorium-fueled nuclear reactor for remote power generation. As I've noted in previous talks over the years, you cannot make anything past a dirty nuclear bomb with thorium. Montgomery Monty Childs, an avid sailor on Lake Ontario, is their founder and current CEO. Physicist Dr. Michael Claridge is their chief science officer. Roman numeral 3, Clean Planet of Tokyo and Kawasaki, Japan, just south of Tokyo on Tokyo Bay. They already have multiple offices in the greater Tokyo area. A LENR, Low Energy Nuclear Action Company. They are backed by the various branches of the Japanese government, along with Mirai, Mitsubishi, Mayura, and Toyota. For Toyota, this is at least their second round at this rodeo. Clean Planet is your corporate dark horse. This company is hiring engineers, plus a bilingual English and Japanese-speaking patent attorney. Roman numeral 4, ENG8 Energy, a LENR, Low Energy Nuclear Reaction Company, formerly of Gibraltar, now of Singapore. At least 4 independent validations in multiple countries. Their coefficient performance, their COP is up to 10. They may be able to increase this with a caveat. Their co-founder and CEO is Valia Tuntina from Russia. She has a background in energy with Gazprom, a major Russian natural gas and petroleum producer. Their co-founder and business development officer, BDO, is retired British Army officer Haslin Back. George Egli from Hungary is their chief physicist. Haslin Back publicly claims 10 euros per megawatt hour market cost, as contrasted with a market rate in Europe of 50 euros per hour megawatt hour for solar and wind. At the recent ICCF Conference 26 on 27 May 2025 in Aina, Moroka, Iwate, Japan, where low energy nuclear reaction LENR is called CMNS, condensed matter nuclear science, Haslin Beck shared that they have 2 alpha test sites installed in factories in Portugal near one of their laboratories. And since he's a retired British Army officer, let us call them laboratories. Most importantly, according to Haslin Back, they plan to install beta units in Portugal in 2026, in additional factories near this laboratory on this side of the pond. Haslin Back publicly stated at the ICCF conference that there are no detectable nuclear emissions if the COP of the coefficient performance is kept under 10. They can go higher than 10. The company plans to offer a 3-year guarantee plus 100,000 minimum expected hours of operation. That is about 11 years. The question is, can they keep what is called strange radiation under control? Their feedstock is water, even water vapor. Hasselbeck further publicly stated at the ICCF conference in Japan that they have a device to produce electricity and another different device to produce heat, thermal energy. Roman numeral 5, Bruyon Energy of Berkeley, California. Also ALENR, Low Energy Nuclear Reaction Process. Bob Gaddis is their Chief Technology Officer, and Bob George II is their CEO. Their most recently coefficient of performance reported from 2022 was 2.88. Most recently, they claimed over 4. They have 2 devices as well. One produces lower temperature thermal energy for space heating, and the second produces higher thermal energy for steam generation. While I like this firm and I admire their work, they appear to be chronically underfunded, which is unfortunate because they are professional and promising. I've spoken about this firm several times in the past. Roman numeral 6, the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project, MFMP, your dark horse. Bob Grenier from the United Kingdom is their leading researcher. This is another LENR, low energy nuclear reaction process, since he is definitely a Brit. Open source, a tribute to Dr. Martin Fleischmann, the mentor to colleague Dr. Stanley Pons at the University of Utah. Martin Fleischmann and Stanley Pons did research for a Toyota subsidiary in Toulouse, France, which I talked about in my table topic, between 1992 and 1995. They are famous or infamous with Dr. Stephen E. Jones of BYU, Brigham Young University, whose claims of muon catalyst fusion were far more modest since late March 1989. The difficulty with the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project, MFMP, is chronic underfunding and understaffing, since this is definitely a volunteer project since, again, Bob Grenier is all across the pond in merry old England. I've studied Bob Grenier's work. He's both personable and talented, perhaps even brilliant. Your elephant in the room, the ECAD of Italian-American engineer Dr. Andrea Rossi, the most famous LENR, low energy nuclear reaction research in recent years. In 2019, there was a claim of a coefficient performance of 57-1. Andrea Rossi of Leonardo Corporation also expects 87,000 hours, about 10 years of operation. At that point, you'll be able to return the ECAT to a factory for recycling and purchase a new unit for 30% of your original purchase price. There was a 6-hour test on a racetrack at Latina, Italy on September 27th, 2024, with matched Renault Twizy electric cars, one with an ECAT and one standard. I've spoken about LENR, low energy correction, many times in the past. While promising, the test was not long enough to be definitive. All that would have been necessary would have been to run the test for 36 hours and brought in several independent experts. I repeat my suggestion of including longtime Rio resident Las Vegas professional musicians Penn and Teller. The ECLAT is claimed to be straightforward AC, alternate current, or DC electricity generation. It was recently revealed by Andrea Rossi that the critical element in the ECAT construction is tungsten. Incandescent light bulbs began using tungsten filaments in 1904. By 1911, this was common practice. Thomas Edison's team reached 1,200 hours in 1879 with bamboo filaments grown near Kyoto, Japan. That was the start of practical commercial incandescent lamps. We are approaching that point in breakthrough energy. Of our breakthrough energy Magnificent Seven, most of these companies are using some variation of controlling ball lightning. Since we know ball lightning is real, it's real that someone study it, understand it, and harness it, like Swiss inventor George de Mestral did for Velcro hook and loop fasteners between 1941 and 1955. The formal name for this science is a study of EVOs, exotic vacuum objects. The precursors in this field were James Clerk Maxwell and Nikola Tesla. Your pioneer was Texan Kenneth Shoulders. A current researcher is Edmund Storms, along with Bob Grenier. Here, ladies and gentlemen, presiding officer, is the rub. No one has publicly consistently demonstrated a coefficient performance of COP of 6 or more, which is required for the efficient operation of Rankine cycle steam turbines. This is a worldwide standard for energy production, both electrical and thermal. Whoever does this will almost certainly be the winner. This will allow power plants, etc., to use a new energy source. My gut feeling is that someone will succeed by 4th of July, 2030. Andrew Rossi may get his act fully together and be our winner. On the 7th of May, 2025, he claimed to have the backing of, open quote, a synergetic partnership between a manufacturing company, a financial fund, and a major electricity provider, close quote. There is some evidence that one of these is from Austria, and their representative attended the Latina Italy test. One of the gentlemen involved appears to be Steve Previch, who has a background in cannabis production and filmmaking. At least one of the partners may be publicly traded. There has been a suggestion that an ECAT-powered race car run in Garage 56 at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in France. This is a special exhibition entrant run at the sole discretion of the race organizers, the Automobile Club de l'Ouest. In English, the Automobile Club of the West. The last such entry before 2025 was in 2023 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the 24 Heures de Mans and the 75th anniversary of NASCAR. A lightened and weatherized Chevrolet Camaro was entered by Hendrick Motorsports in the GTE class. This class is for sports sedans like the BMW M3 and sports cars starting with Corvettes and working up to Aston Martins, Ferraris, and Lamborghinis. As a typical in racing, many Porsche 911s. Since famed NASCAR driver Jeff Gordon is a vice chairman of Hendrick Motorsports, our Garage 56 Chevy Camaro wore his number 24 and livery. Although it qualified 4 seconds per lap ahead of its entire class, plagued by late race mechanical issues, the number 24 car finished at the back of the GT class. That stirring saga deserves its own separate talk. Earlier this day, a privateer Ferrari won the race. The Works Ferrari team ran 3rd and 4th. A Porsche from the team owned by Roger Penske finished 2nd. A Cadillac finished 5th, and another Cadillac had the fastest lap. If the ECAT Garage 56 entry were even finished the race, Dr. Andy Rossi would become as famous as Thomas Edison. Nassim Haramein of Fire fame has also endorsed Andy Rossi in the Northern Hemisphere spring of 2025, although not by name. Back to Japan, Clean Planet has come on like gangbusters over the past few years and has substantial backing. They are a corporate dark horse and they are coming on strong. The question I have is, are they real, or is this just some Asian fad to throw money at, like a mine, a boat, or a yacht? Randall Mills stated at their second April 2025 shareholders meeting, anyone may view that they had completely solved the durability issue. That might put them in the lead. However, my hunch is that ENG Energy will be the winner in the breakthrough energy field. This is based on the fact that Singapore is very selective as a country and invests individuals and organizations that wish to operate out of there thoroughly. According to financial expert Jim Rogers, these days it is $10 million net worth to move your company there or reside there. Jim Rogers moved from New York City to Singapore in December 2007 after selling his home in New York City for $16 million. As I've discussed in previous talks, neighboring Malaysia is a far better value. I concur with the nomad capitalist Andrew Henderson. Kuala Lumpur is the best value capital city in Asia, and Kota Kinabalu, known as KK on Borneo, is wonderful for those on a budget. Returning to breakthrough energy, since ENG Energy looks like the boost both electrical and thermal energy. They have the largest potential market. They also seem to have enough funding to make it to market. Plus, their coefficient performance of COP is up to 10. However, R-Energy probably has found a profitable niche market and plans to expand into radioactive waste transmutation, which would also be a profitable niche market. We also may get a new contender who seems to come out of nowhere, the dark horse that wins the race. Hold on to your hats, especially if they're tinfoiled, and fasten your seatbelts because it is about to be a wild ride, perhaps with a victory lap around the island nation of Singapore.